Evening. Welcome to the TOWTalk Podcast live stream. I'm Denise here with Neil, and we're just going to give some folks some time to get connected. Let me move over to the chat screen and see what we got over here. I don't know how long the lag is between with all of us here. Let me see, make sure that we're
I'm
connected.
waiting. I don't even see us, but
Let me see if we're.
and that is a terrible picture of me. And I know that people will be online to see that. But that is a really bad picture of me.
All right. Well, I had another one too, and I've got better ones. I've got better
That's
ones.
fine.
Let's
Yeah,
see,
we just went live, so
okay,
yeah.
we're there. Hey, we're live now. All
But now it's gonna catch up, right?
right. So I got to get used to the lag. There we
Yeah,
go.
no worries. But if anybody has any comments, if anybody shows up and decides that they want to speak, join in. We're happy to have you participate in the conversation. Lots to talk about today, so please
Uh,
let us know your thoughts on current events. You know,
yeah, let us know where you're from. Um, if you happen to be local, that's great. But if you're coming from somewhere else, that's great even too. Because effective January 1st, the algorithms for YouTube have changed, and so that could affect whether or not we're showing up on your feed, which is why we always ask that you like, share, and make sure you're subscribed to the channel, because it's possible we may not, the way the algorithm is working now, it's really screwed up. I'm having things show up on my feed that are from like last year, 2 years ago. It's very, very weird what they're doing. But it's been said that YouTube does not like certain political voices, and they suppress as much as they can. So subscribing helps you to stay connected to us, and we do appreciate that. So
and please, oh yeah, and please let us know where you're watching us from.
yeah,
So we know what audience that we're hitting.
yeah,
Um,
yeah, that
maybe
helps us a lot. So
yeah.
definitely say, "Huh,
We
am I?" Oh, go ahead.
so we do have some breaking news that we would like to share with everybody tonight. As everybody is aware, we've been talking about it. We do live in the town of Wackel, which is in Orange County, New York, and for the first time since 2009, the Orange County Legislature has elected a Democratic chairwoman to lead the legislature. And
Wow.
so I'd like to congratulate Lori Total. She represents the 14th district, which is Monroe and Harriman area. So,
Good for her.
congratulations to her. And, hopefully, now that means that, we'll be addressing some of the affordability issues in the county and some of the housing issues and some of the other issues that we have. And hopefully they come out with a really strong agenda for all of us. So something to wait for and something to look forward to and hopefully, we'll get some of that. Maybe we'll get that a little early. Hopefully, maybe
Yes.
if people out there
Yes.
who know us, maybe want to leak some information to us as to what we can expect from a Democratic majority in the Orange County Legislature.
So that's great. So some other news. If you have been following the channel, you know that we just recently did a video addressing the Amazon warehouse and a fire variance that they got. So a
No, it was
couple
a
of
height
things.
variance. It was the height variance that they didn't get.
But they didn't get the height. I thought it was the fire variance that they were their
No,
fire
no.
safety.
So the court ruling had to do with the height variance. So the zoning board of appeals didn't grant the height variance, right? Amazon took them to court
Okay.
regarding the height variance, saying that the zoning board didn't didn't follow the proper procedure to come to that conclusion, essentially. And the court ruled that the Zoning Board of Appeals did act as they were supposed to, and upheld the zoning board of appeals determination not to grant the height variance. So
Very nice.
that's where that is. Now there are a lot of different lawsuits that are around this warehouse, so this is not over yet.
Yeah. Now
But
this will go on.
that's one. That was one of the big ones.
I'd be curious if people have opinions about the warehouse, how you feel about it, whether you're excited about it coming in or I happen to go down McVeigh Road. If it is today, I drove through there. I'm like, where are they going to put this monstrous thing? If you've ever been on McVeigh Road, it runs crosswise between Dolsontown Road and Echo Lake Road. That was the name of that road. If anybody has ever been to Mason's Marketplace, which is on Lake Road, right in that little village, that's actually New Hampton. Like I always thought New Hampton was like south of 6, but it's actually up Echo Lake Road. That if you cross over 6, then you would see Soons on your left. That's the road I'm talking about. And so this road is not that long. Maybe it's a mile. There's a lot of residential on one end, and then on the other end there's like a lot of electric. There's like these massive electrical poles. They're like 3 poles linked together, holding heavy duty wires. I guess they're coming out of the power plant. I can't remember. I can't remember if they were there before or after the power plant. But there's that. There's a major transfer station over there. So it's sort of like, where are you going to put this warehouse? It's not going to interfere with all of that, those wiring going on. But then again, at the same time, it also kind of makes sense because they want to be near resources. And if you're going to need a lot of electric to charge up your robot batteries, being right next to a transfer station is not a bad place to be. What do you think?
I don't know the exact location that they're putting the warehouse, but I would agree. I mean, you're going to be using a lot of energy in the warehouse if they're going to have that many robots.
Yeah, yeah. So there's a lot of wooded area I noticed. So I'm thinking that might be where they plan, if they want to clear that. Because the cleared area that I saw, that's where those poles seem to be running through. And so I could see that being a hazard. But who knows? We will have more information and we'll keep you updated because this is going to be an ongoing saga for who knows how long, like forever. Hopefully we stall it coming in here. That's right.
Listen, I've seen these things a million times, and I'm not saying it's going to happen, but at some point in time, people will start seeing construction, and then somebody's going to ask the question like, "How did they start construction? What happened?" Right? And you miss like everything in between. Like, how many times has that happened? I'm not saying that will happen. I don't know. I mean, I always feel like that's the way things end up being, like you get to this point and then like a bunch of things are done and nobody reports on it,
Right,
and
right.
and then it's there. So the hope is that we'll try to keep everybody in the loop. We'll try to keep up to date on it, and as new developments arise, we'll share them.
Okay. And so another thing happened. Let me tell you, with the speed at which things change. We did some recording. We record a couple episodes at a time. Usually on Sundays, just a good day for us to sit down and record what we're going to do. And we recorded an episode regarding the whole issue, the whole scandal with the child care centers. And of course, whole lot of stuff has come in and come out, and between Sunday and then Monday, more information comes out, and it's led to the governor of Minnesota now, Tim Walz, deciding not to run again. I have my speculation as to my thoughts as to why I think that's going on, but I'm curious to. Do you have any thoughts as to why you think he might have stepped down?
Yeah, who wants their family to be threatened?
That was my number one. That was my number
Well,
one
that's what he
thought.
said. That's exactly what he said.
Oh, I didn't get to hear what he said.
Oh
I
no,
just
that's exactly what he said. I mean, you go into public service because you care about your community and you want to help, or at least some people do. Right now, it seems to be more people get into politics because they want power. Okay.
right,
And it's not that they want to use the power to help people, they want to use the power to help themselves.
right.
Okay. And we see that more and more in politics today. And then you get a guy like Governor Walz, who got into it for the right reason.
Yeah, he
And
did.
he's a guy that cares. He cares about his family. He cares about Minnesota. Say what you want about Minnesota, okay? But Minnesota has a very good standard of living, right? I heard reports about it, that they have, one of the lower healthcare costs in the United States, right? They have a good standard of living. They have, very they have good income levels there for the cost of living. I mean, there's not much to, Minnesota's a nice place to live.
Yeah.
And they just want to tear it down. They want to tear down anything that's nice.
Oh, yeah.
You know, I don't understand how people don't realize that, right? New York City, it's so funny, right? Like we could have this conversation about New York City. New York City is a great place, you
Mm-hmm.
know. They don't
Worked
the
there for
crime
20 years.
like this isn't the 1970s.
No.
Like everybody thinks that New York City is like what they used to see in the 1970s on TV. New York City's a great place to go. And if you mind your own business, nobody's going to mess with you. End of story. you know and it's a very nice place to live. It has a very high cost of living and standard of living,
Yes.
but they also have very high income levels. Okay. And you have the right who never has been to New York City. They don't know what New York City is. And you have a president going down and saying, this place is a shithole where crime is out of control. Crime is not out of control in New York
Until
City.
ICE comes in.
Right. Crime is out of control in Little Rock, Arkansas, right? Like that's where it's out of control.
Oh,
Okay? We people just got to stop. Like stop with the lies. They just
yeah.
want to make Democrats look like that they are bad leaders and that everything that they do is fraudulent. But all they're doing, all these right-wing people are doing is projecting themselves onto their
Mm-hmm.
opponent to fuel the base who believes this garbage.
Yeah. That's exactly what it is. And it's frustrating because really on a per capita level, crime in New York City is incredibly low, and it's much higher in red states. Louisiana, my MAGA Mike Johnson, your state says one of the higher per capita crime rates, meaning per 100 people, 1,000 people, whatever it is. And Alaska is another state that has a surprisingly high crime rate, but it's not that bad here in New York, and I'm just kind of sick and tired of being scapegoated. But I'm a New Yorker, born and raised here. I'm not going. I'm not leaving New York. So
It
yeah.
it's I find hearing about New York from non-New Yorkers, right? you know, I, it boggles my mind, right? Even like certain New Yorkers, like certain like New Yorkers who really believe the MAGA stuff, right? Right? Even like, do we live in the same area? Like, I don't understand. I really don't. Listen, there are a lot of things I would like to change about my community. It doesn't mean I don't love my community. It just means that like all Americans, we should want to achieve better for ourselves, for our communities, for our children, right? Like it used to be the American dream was that our children would have better than us.
Yes.
Okay? Now the American dream is we need to accumulate wealth and we need to be the wealthiest. And you know what? It doesn't have to be us. As long as the billionaires continue to accumulate wealth, we'll feel good.
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
Like,
every time, they'll repeat these slogans that come out of that they say on
right.
TV, and waste, fraud, and abuse, and all this other stuff, and they just repeat it. America first. Sure. Okay. That's I hear these slogans all the time. And when you try to say, what does that mean? You can't get a definition. Oh, that you can't get a clear, they don't even understand it. They just repeat it, mindlessly repeat it. That is cultism. That is just the definition of a cult, when you're just repeating the phrases and the slogans over and over again, but you can't even define what the hell it means or provide examples. I mean, what just happened over the New Year's holiday? That was not America first. I don't know at all. That was not, we're spending our tax dollars are paying for that. What happened in Venezuela? That's what our tax dollars are. Meanwhile, costs are high here, right here in Orange County, right here in Middletown. Costs are high. Housing is high. Healthcare is out of control. We don't have to even go there. We've done it. But I guess if you can save a quarter on a gallon of gas, it's America first. What do you think?
We're not saving anything. Okay, that's the thing. There's not going to be, there was a press thing on Air Force One, and they clearly said it, right? They are socializing the costs and the losses, okay, while privatizing the profits. Okay, so they talk about, we're going to go down and make an investment in Venezuela, right? And get the wells up and running, right? The oil wells up and running, okay? And then the oil companies will come in, right? And they'll profit. Okay? Like they said that. They flat out
Yeah.
told you exactly what they were going to do. So right, you may say, "Oh, I'm going to save 5 cents at the pump," which I don't think you will anyway, right? But even if you save that 5 cents, you just spent like $50, right? Like or more, right? To get that 5 cent savings. Okay? Because
They don't
your
say
tax dollars are paying for all the things that are going to happen next. Okay? So like everybody's just really got to stop. They got to understand, like, money doesn't grow on trees. Okay?
Yeah.
It doesn't grow. There's a finite amount of money that's being split up, and the wealthiest among us keep accumulating more. And all they want to do is to accumulate more wealth.
Right.
And if there's no more of it being made, then they're going to take it from you.
And they're doing that right now as we speak. You know me. I'm working. I got my headphones on, so I listen to other podcasts, and they've been talking about this all day. One of the, for example, it came out. I guess Trump was asked about who was going to be running Venezuela, who, and he kind of hummed around at the answer, and the person who was interviewing kind of zeroed him in, and he finally said, "Me." So, how is that America first? Shouldn't you be here helping Americans to have a better life, to make costs more affordable? That was the number one promise. Immigration and the cost of things. We've gone from getting rid of the worst to anybody who's a few shades darker than the rest of us. We're getting rid of them regardless of whether they've committed a crime or not. It doesn't matter. Or they're being locked up and held for God knows how long. And costs are through the roof. I don't think in my lifetime I have ever seen inflation at this level. It's out of control. And I mean, I go back to my example when I want to put new memory in my computer. I keep checking. It's literally over 4 times what I paid a year ago this week. No bull. I can pull the prices up and show you. I paid $99 for 32 gigs of DDR5 6000 RAM. That same RAM is 409 or 407 at Micro Center. It's like, come on. You telling me that things are getting more affordable, but it keeps telling you that inflation is way down. And you just kind of say, yeah, it is. What the hell are you talking about? Why? Why? I just want to grab these people and shake them. Wake up!
So I'm going to recommend a book to everybody. Okay, there's a book that was written by Michael Lewis back I believe it was in the 80s. It was about the 80s, called Liar's Poker. Okay,
Sounds familiar. I think I've heard of this.
It is absolutely very relevant to everything that's going on today. Okay, basically it's this idea of socializing the losses, okay, right, and privatizing the profits. Okay, you look at any corporation today, the largest corporations. Tesla is a really good example of it, because we've really seen how this. If you're an investor, if you're a shareholder, right, in Tesla, okay, you're making a little money, not a lot, but you were making a little money, right? But Musk was taking home trillions of dollars, right? Like the guy became a trillionaire. Okay. That's privatized, right? So he's basically extracting all the wealth out of Tesla. Okay. And I think like that's something like we have to look at exactly what's sort of going on. The United States is being run like a for-profit corporation.
Yes.
Okay. So we are all shareholders in the United States, paying taxes. So that's our investment. And instead of that money coming back to us in the form of returns, okay, better roads, better bridges, all that kind of stuff, they're extracting that wealth and paying the executives, right? Your billionaires, your contractors, your corporations, all them. Okay? That's just basically fascism. It's the
Yes.
it's the socializing of the losses and the costs, okay, while privatizing the profits. So, yes, I'm going to tell you this is not capitalism, this is fascism.
Right.
Okay?
Yep.
And people really need to understand the difference. I am all for capitalism. I am not for fascism. Or in this case, this is crony fascism. Okay?
Yes. Yep.
So we really need to sort of like take off these partisan blinders that we have on, okay, of Republicans and Democrats. Understand that the people that we call leaders are not leaders. Right? They are not Republicans and Democrats. They are basically pawns of the elite nobility, that we call the oligarchy in the United States.
Yeah.
So we have more power. We are the people. You can take that whatever way you want, socialist, whatever. It's not. It's actually what we call democracy and democratic principles and values. We the people.
Yeah.
We the people. That if you're telling me today that phrase "we the people" is socialist, then our founding fathers were socialists and they created a socialist republic for us. We the people.
So that we have the power to elect representatives that have our best interests at heart. And they don't. They don't. We see it all the time. I mean, Jesus Christ, Chuckles Schumer. Chuckle, I keep calling him Chuckles. That comes from iHip News. That's what they call him, Chuckles. It's appropriate though. You know, there's no fight. We're gonna write another extreme letter, right? I mean, nobody's standing up. These people aren't standing up because they're not representing us. You know, we pick up the phone, we call him, what the hell? You can't even leave a message for Schumer. Like it directs you right to his website. So it just goes into his email that he never looks at. It's ridiculous. You can leave messages for Gillibrand, but you never hear from her. Never hear from her. I haven't heard from her since she was elected. That's like the last. She's like absolutely. She's like a silent minority. You never hear from her.
If there's a Democrat she can attack.
Oh yeah, that's when you hear from her.
The Republicans she doesn't attack, but if there's a Democrat she can go after, damn right she's gonna do it.
Like, oh my God, how the hell did we get here? How can we change this timeline?
I will tell you exactly how we got here. Okay. There are a number of things that have led us here. The first one is the gerrymandering, the partisan gerrymandering.
Yes.
Okay.
I agree.
This idea, the whole idea of our founding, right? You can go back to the founding fathers. You can go back to the Declaration of Independence. You got all those people in the room, 13 colonies in a room with representatives. None of them could agree on anything. Okay? They all sent their own partisan people to the Congress and they came out with one document. Was it a great document? By our standards today, we look back and we say that was a great document. But by their standards, many of them had a lot of complaints about it, right? You know, so again, it's not necessarily always about saying, you know, it's about getting people into a room and being able to agree. Because when they didn't agree, they went back and they sent new representatives because they knew at the end of the day they needed to compromise. Okay.
There, yeah.
With the partisan gerrymandering, there's no need to compromise, none whatsoever.
Yeah.
Right. So
you pick your voters.
Right. And then you have nobody runs against you, you know, and it just rolls downhill from there. I mean, you know, once you will start electing people who don't need to compromise to get reelected. Okay. Now all of a sudden you have partisanship, and then you have a Supreme Court. Okay.
That enables it all.
That's been corrupted and enables it all, but then is essentially doing what the right have been complaining about for years. They are creating laws through precedent. Okay. Precedent was never meant to be law.
Right.
Believe it or not, right? You can go all the way back. It was always meant, okay, well, the courts have a ruling. If it was a ruling that the public wanted to stand, then they should get their electors together and vote on it. That's democracy.
Right.
That's the legislative branch doing what it's supposed to be doing. But we as Americans have decided that we're going to gerrymander all the districts, right? Send people who weren't going to compromise. So legislation just halted. Right?
Yeah.
Look at ever since Nixon, I'm going to go back to, right? Nixon was probably the most progressive president we've had in the last 50 years. Clean Air, Clean Water Act, right? Like, I mean, what has been done since that we can all turn to and say, this was a great piece of legislation? It's really hard to find that.
It is. It is hard.
One or two. It is really hard. So you start seeing this, all right? It's this, you know, we've sort of our own worst enemies. Through the electoral process, through all this process, we have really gone against our own self-interest. And we
Yeah.
need to take off the partisan blinders. We need to start asking better questions and start expecting more of our politicians instead of expecting less and
Yeah.
asking for less. We need to ask for more and expect more from every single one of them instead of trying to bring people down to where we feel we are because we've lost so much, right? We need to start saying, no, we want to be where they are and make that happen.
I can't argue with you there. I think part of, and I think all of this sort of project that's been going on for really for decades, it's succeeded in the sense that a lot of people have checked out of politics because of gerrymandering, right? Because their voices are not heard, so they just check out altogether and don't bother. I can't tell you how many times I've had conversations with people over the years that have been like, oh, are you gonna go out to vote? And they're like, oh, I don't bother with that. My vote doesn't matter. They literally say that. You know, it's and yes, please join in and help us out here, because I we want to hear people's opinions. Sometimes people are afraid to to speak their minds. This is another silencing of what happens. Your voice is silenced, by certain people. I,
Did you see did you see that video of the girl who was on the sidewalk giving an interview with the press? So she was at a protest. The media was there at the protest, okay? And she's on the sidewalk giving this interview, right? The police surround her as she's giving the interview. As soon as the interview's done, they arrested her.
for what?
And, and they claim she was obstructing traffic on the
By giving
sidewalk.
an interview. Yeah, well, that's
On the
that's
sidewalk.
in a public
I mean,
place.
I
This
mean,
is
if it wasn't, if I didn't see it with my own eyes, I would just, it's just, it's crazy. It's
yeah,
just
that's
crazy
how
what's
we
happening.
yeah, that's how we silence people. You can't be intimidated by that. You can't be intimidated. We've allowed this regime to bully our media, right? That started before he was even inaugurated last year. I can't believe we're about to go a year into this. It
This
feels like
this
it.
this has honestly been going on for decades in this country. We have
Yeah.
more laws, right, that restrict our freedom, right, than believe it or not, many European countries. Okay, and I know people are
Oh,
going to
I
be
agree
like,
with
no,
that.
no, 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 but
Oh, yes, 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 yes.
it's so true. Like I tell people that they can't leave their house without breaking the law, and people no, that's not true. It really is true, right? It doesn't matter. You leave your house. I guarantee you that there's going to be some law that you're going to end up breaking.
Yeah, he's asking if you know which state that
I'm
happened
trying
with
to
her.
remember if off the top of my head whether it was Michigan or Minnesota
Yeah,
or
I didn't
Oregon.
see that video. There's
I know,
so many.
yeah,
There's
but
we s-
I do remember that.
well, we have Kate Abigazala. How many times has she been arrested for protesting at an ICE facility? Like you're not allowed to. She hasn't done anything violent. They're not throwing rocks. They're not spitting at ICE agents. They're just outside, chanting, singing "Kumbaya," waving signs, and speaking out. Maybe she has a megaphone about how wrong this is to detain these people for days, weeks, months, even. Some people are sitting there and they're not being processed or anything else is going on. They're just sitting in there, and she has been arrested. She's been picked up and thrown. I saw a video of that happening. And this is, by the way, for those who don't know, Kate Abigazala is running for Congress in Chicago, in the state of Illinois. And she's a young progressive candidate. She's in her mid to upper 20s, I'd say. And she is right? What do you think?
I think she may be a little older, but
Oh, she maybe around 30, but she's definitely by our standards she's young. But she's progressive, she's well spoken, and she is a fighter. And she goes out there, she puts her body out there. She's a tiny little girl here, and their ICE agents are picking her up and throwing her to the ground for the only reason of standing up and speaking out and letting her outrage. She's not hurting anybody, she's not hitting anybody, she's not fighting them, but she has to take being brutalized like this for having an opinion. That's where we are today. This is fascism. If you don't stand up and you don't speak up now, this is the time, because that net is closing in really fast. Things got a lot worse when you look at all these types of dictatorships. Let's just call it what it is, and how regular people are treated. I mean, look at what's happening. Like I said, they're making things more expensive. Tariffs are taxes on top of we already pay sales tax, we already pay income tax, we already pay state income tax, and tariffs is just another tax on top of that.
oh,
And so they're breaking us financially.
Did you hear about the big tariff joke?
Oh, yo, tell me.
Oh
Let's
my
hear
God.
this.
So they're in court. There's a court case right now where they're talking about whether the tariffs were legal. If it
Right, that's
turns
in
out the
Supreme.
tariffs were not legal, okay, and the court orders him to give back the tariff money. Now, keep in mind, tariffs are taxes that we pay on goods, okay? They're not tariffs on the other country. They're not tariffs on the company importing the goods, because the company importing the goods passes that cost along to us. It's not like
Right.
they keep, right? So they're passing that cost on to us. Okay? So we're paying those taxes. If the court says that the tariffs were illegal and he has to give the money back, he's giving the money back to the corporations.
Right. That's where it goes. And they're not going to, you've already bought and paid your stuff, so you're not going to see that.
So it's going to be a profit. It's going to be a boom
More profit.
More profit for the corporations. More profit for Amazon and everybody else. Right.
Almost like he planned it that way.
Right.
Because
and we get screwed, because now we're going to be out of the money, right? And now that's going to have to be more taxes that we have to pay to make up for everything else that these guys did.
Right. And do you honestly think they're going to lower the prices? Nah, we paid the higher prices. People paid the higher prices, so they'll keep it there. Just like we had prices increase because of COVID, because of all of the because of the people weren't working and it was hard to get products. Nothing was being made. So we saw an inflation. And then, of course, coming out of COVID, we saw some inflation as things started kicking back up and there was more demand, right? Supply, demand, there was less supply, more demand. And so, corporations got used to charging those higher prices and said, you know what? People are paying it. And now we paid on top of that with tariffs. People are paying it. So they're going to get a refund, rebates. They're going to get a tariff rebate. They're going to get all their money back. And we've already paid the higher prices, and we'll continue to pay those higher prices. They're not going to lower them for us.
Yeah, by the way, have we heard about the next check that we're getting? I got my Doge check, right? I got my tariff check. What's the next one I'm supposed to get now? Because
there was the 1776. So the big joke was
another one. There was another check that I was supposed to get.
Oh, yeah, there was the 1776 check that was supposed to go out. I think that was supposed to go to members of the military in time for the holidays. Okay, number one, those checks never came out. Number two, that wasn't a 1776 thing. What that was a living stipend that they were
Right.
supposed to get regardless, that Trump decided to claim it was going to come from him. He just kind of, stole it and said, I'm giving you 1776. They were going to get it anyway. But I don't think they got that.
I'm just wondering what the next check I'm supposed to get us, because
I,
these wonderful checks. I love it. They go into my imaginary bank account. My imaginary check goes into my imaginary bank account. You know, I've been gaslit now for the last year that I've actually already gotten these checks. So.
it's crazy. It's crazy. I mean, when the Doge stuff was going on last year, and they started breaking into Social Security, some of my right wing friends, they were like, oh, I was outraged to be in some more, progressive friends were like, this is terrible. This is our privacy. They're breaking into our privacy. They're getting our information from Social Security, and they're putting up the stupidest post I've ever seen. I give permission to Elon Musk to take my Social Security information. Like, what the fuck? Are you that stupid? Like, posting that on Facebook like a major announcement. And then, of course, he said, oh, I'm saving so much money, we'll be able to give $5,000 checks.
That was the Doge check.
That was the Doge check, $5,000. So Telly has the $5,000 going, Mega. You go.
I told you.
Did you have a good Christmas?
The $5,000 imaginary $5,000 check went into my imaginary $5,000 piggy bank.
So you could buy $5,000 or $2,000 for your daughter. I mean, come on.
I can buy $5,000 worth of imaginary stuff at imaginary Amazon.
Imaginary Amazon. Yes, yes. Oh God.
That's my new business. Imaginary Amazon.
Oh my God. This is where we're at, folks. So what do you think? Anybody have any input and any opinions they'd like to share? Everybody's so quiet.
Hey, my imaginary Amazon is taking imaginary Doge checks.
Yeah, could you please send
and
us a
imaginary
donation?
Tariff checks. Please like and subscribe. Please like and subscribe.
Oh my God. So yeah, so that's sort of what's going on. I don't see things coming down anytime soon. I think 2026 is going to be a tough year for expenses. Definitely for those of us. Well, I'd be interested with healthcare, because now you just in one of our episodes last week, you posted, you shared a video in which somebody's healthcare premiums went up, like it skyrocketed, right? It went from like 600 something a month to 2,800 a month, and the guy is not on ACA. So that sort of lines up with what I was talking about with the drop-off rate, with the costs being so high that many people are just saying, the hell with health insurance. I'll pay for it out of my pocket or put it on my credit card if and when I need it, which means people aren't treating, and premiums have to be that cost that they're spreading out to the people who do get treated, which are, people who are keeping the premiums. Everybody's premium goes up, not just ACA. The premiums themselves just go up for everybody. And I would be curious to see if anyone has been impacted. You might have seen an increase in your, like a lot of you get your insurance through your job. Did you see an increase in your job? Like what you have to pay? Did you get a nice raise to match it?
I find it interesting that at the time the ACA, credits are expiring and people's rates are going up, that the Republicans, because I've heard a number of Republicans talk about this, have actually had a much more coherent message, than Democrats, because a number of Republicans have talked about the idea of, well, what we need is a group health insurance, right, where we can pull people together, because as a group you can get better rates than you can as an individual, right? I have not heard one Democrat say that, with the exception of the usual suspects like AOC and others, right, and Bernie, who've consistently said Medicare for all, right? And other than the Medicare for all people, right? It's just really interesting that there are certain Republicans that are going around saying that, although what they're offering is they're saying, well, the private sector has to be able to afford a way to do this. And the interesting part is that's exactly what the Affordable Care Act was supposed to do, right? Like it was supposed to create that risk pool for everybody, okay? And they got rid of it, right?
Right.
These same politicians are the ones that got rid of it. So they're sort of talking out of both sides of their ass. But I mean, it's just really interesting. Like I wish Democrats would talk like that and say, listen, we need to create, instead of just blanketly saying, give that little bit of extra information, you
Yeah.
know let people understand, right? Those that have pooled insurance with their employer have lower rates than if you're getting these plans on your own. So we need to create risk pools for everybody and provide subsidies to the risk pools to ensure that we can all get health care, lower our health care costs, and ensure that everybody is covered.
Right. Well, that was kind of the point of that was semi the point of ACA, to help offset by
Yes,
creating,
that was
that
yes.
was the whole point, and it
But that's
got
why
more
Medicare
people.
for all works. That's why Medicare for all is the best solution.
Yes, but that's not it's not good for corporate profits, and now we're corporate America. We're not for the people by the people. We're for the billionaires by the billionaires for the corporate profits, and
It
yeah.
right. There's a reason why pharmaceutical costs cheaper everywhere else other than America. Okay? There's an absolute reason for that. And anybody who tells you, any government official who tells you, oh, you can't trust those drugs, think about the standards that some of these foreign countries have that we
Mm-hmm.
don't have. Think about the things that they have banned, some of the additives to our foods that they've banned, that we continue to allow in our foods,
Oh yeah.
okay, that have been proven to be carcinogenic, okay? Like, just think about it. Do you really think that their drugs are less safe?
This,
Okay,
yeah.
right? Like, you are getting sold a bill of goods, right, from billionaires who are profiting off of your naivete.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. But you know what? Yeah. They think that it's the greatest, right? It's the greatest. It's great here in America. It's the greatest. You'd be surprised if you. This is one of the reasons why they really want to limit immigration. It's because they don't want us to see how other people live. That it's really not that bad. It's really not that bad. It's not that bad in Canada. Canada has a great healthcare program. They have a great education program. They help finance the education so that their future generations can do better than the current generation. Isn't that what we all want? We want our children and grandchildren to do better than us. That's not happening. This
No,
generation, this
it's about the people in power who are profiting, trying to convince Americans, right, that everywhere else outside of America is a shithole. Okay? And trying to convince us that major cities like New York and Chicago and LA are shitholes. Everywhere is a shithole, right? But they never tell you where their utopia is. Okay? Because their utopia, right, is you putting money into their pockets.
yes.
Okay? That's their utopia. Okay? So as long as you keep feeding them your money, okay, they're going to tell you every place is a shithole. Okay? so that you believe where you live is not a shithole.
Yeah,
Okay? And 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 it gives them no reason to make where you live better. Okay? There's
there you go.
no reason. And as someone who served as a politician, I'm going to tell you the goal should be to make your community is never perfect. Okay? Nobody lives in a perfect community. I'm sorry. I hate to say that. I know everybody loves the politicians. My community is the best. You can always do things to make your community better. And if your politicians are telling you you're the best and you can't improve, right? That means that they aren't trying. So why the hell are you
Yeah,
paying them? Okay? Every community should want a politician who says we can do better and this is how I'm going to make us better. Okay? We've been sold the bill of goods, right? To ask for little and expect little. And we need to start asking for more and expecting more.
there you go. And and maybe we have an opportunity. Um, Yesterday was MTG's last day on the job. She has officially, Marjorie Taylor Greene has officially retired from Congress as of yesterday. And okay, so it's ironic, not trying to cheer, but this morning, Congressman, God, what's his name? I'll give you his name right now. Um, Here it is. Doug LaMalfa, age 65. He is a Republican congressman out of California. Unfortunately, was killed in a car accident. And it's the worst possible reason to have a seat open. But I guess with the way things are right now, I think I'll take what I can get. And it is
Listen,
sad.
I'm not gonna wish
No, I
anybody
don't wish I don't.
anything bad. Listen, it's unfortunate. The guy, whatever you want to say about, he decided to go into public service. Okay, well, good,
Hopefully for the
bad,
right
indifferent,
reasons.
whatever his inclination was. At the end of the day, right? Rest in peace. And now we'll see what happens. It's my question to everybody is why are we hiring these people, right, to be be our elected officials? Like these people aren't leaders. They're not, you know, they're not advocates. They hang around too long, and they don't work for anybody but themselves.
Mm, yeah.
You know,
Oh yeah. Well,
it,
that's where it's gone. You know.
it's a system that feeds upon itself. Okay, and it's really hard. And I get it's really hard to have integrity, but there are a few people who do have integrity in Congress, and we should be looking up to those people. And there are a few politicians that have integrity outside of Congress. Tim Walz was one of them. Governor Walz was one of them. He had a lot of integrity,
Yeah.
and to see him step away, whether you like the guy or you didn't like the guy, whether you agreed with his politics or didn't agree with his politics, okay, he was one of the good guys. He tried, okay,
Yeah.
and you know, as I said, Minnesota, things are going well in Minnesota, and everything that was said about him was a lie.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But it seems that we as a country have grown to be more find the lies more believable than the truth.
Well, that's part of the theater, right? The dramatization of everything. I mean, look at all these. Look at his cabinet. Right? When do these people work? They're on TV all day, all night. It's all day. MAGA cabinet. Stephen. We go from the president to Miller to the vice president to Lutnick or Nutlick, whatever you want to call him. They're all on
Content.
TV.
They have to make content.
Content. They're fucking podcasters. Hegseth is a podcaster.
It's listen. You know these guys. This is The Apprentice. You know they have to make Trump proud. Otherwise, he's gonna fire him. So I'm a little. To be honest, I'm a little worried about Kash Patel. He hasn't really been out there as much.
Haven't seen much from him.
Haven't seen much from him lately. I mean, I feel like he's on the chopping block. Next meeting, I feel like there's going to be a "you're fired" in his future.
What happened to Bongino? Is his second in command? Is he long gone, or is he just hiding?
Yeah, he resigned. No.
He finally did resign. He went back to podcasting. But these people are made. It's all about content. It's all about theater. It's really some of it is devastating theater. I think that the bombings in Caracas were totally unnecessary. I think they had a plan. They knew what they were doing. They had people on the inside to go in and get Maduro, and they dropped bombs anyway. They bombed an airport as well, and they bombed community, and dozens of people were killed or injured. All for theater.
This administration is about two things: cruelty and theater. That's it. Okay, and reading some of the comments that I see on Facebook and I hear on TV, it breaks my heart. Like every day, I die a little just listening to it. It's so heartbreaking, right? I mean, it just really is. I don't get it. It just really is. I mean, I really feel like there's just a real lack of empathy. I read a long time ago, there was I was reading a book a long time ago about Wichita, Kansas in the early 90s and stuff like that. And the one thing it talked about in there was that there was a study done back then, and like 90% of Americans were like they said were narcissists.
Yeah. I believe that.
And it just it now it's a sort of like all of a sudden it's in your face every day. This as I said, South Park guys, Trey Stone and Matt Parker, or Matt Stone and Trey Parker, right? They had said it. It said it's in your face every day. It's become MAGA is pop culture.
Yes. Yeah. It's just so surreal. But here's a positive thing that we can close on as we're getting to the end of our hour here. And we're going to keep pushing this throughout the year. Okay. This is the year you all have to be engaged and involved and in voting. We want to primary candidates that aren't doing their job, whether you're on the right or the left or down the middle, whatever they are. Take a look at how your current representatives are and see who's running against them. Go grassroots. Get away from people that are supported through corporate PAC money. That's a big signal that these people are not going to be working for the people. They work for who gives them the money. And so we want to look at more grassroots people. And we've named a few. I just named Kat Abagazala earlier. Graham Plattner's another one. And, we just saw Mamdani. He's a grassroots candidate, ran a fantastic campaign. And go ahead.
So if I can just throw in there. So, because we're coming to the end and I just want to get this out there. All right. As Denise was saying, right, the time to get involved is actually going to be now in New York. Okay. So in New York, all right, there are different seasons. And so the first season that comes up is when the nomination of a candidate, right? When your party, either Democratic or Republican Party, nominate a candidate. That is going to happen in January and February. All right. At
Okay.
the end of February becomes petition season. Okay. So I'm this is really important. This is when you have to go out and get signatures to get your candidate on the ballot. Okay. This is the time to be paying attention. Okay. Because this is when your party is going to put forth a candidate to run for you to vote for in November. If you come to November and you're saying to yourself, wow, I'm choosing between the lesser of I don't care and who gives a shit, okay, then you weren't involved early enough. Now's the time to be involved, okay? Because the people that you're going to put up, you're going to have a choice. And if you don't like who they're putting up in January and February, then you can start getting petitions out for yourself or somebody you know, right, in March and April, okay, when petitions are due, and then you can challenge them in a primary.
There you go.
Okay, that's important to know and do. Okay, also consider running as an independent. Okay, show people that you're not beholden to one party or the other. And I don't really care if you're a Democrat or Republican in this instance. If you're a Republican, is so partisan, right? And so MAGA that he can't appeal to anybody else other than that base, right? As a Republican, maybe you challenge them.
Yeah.
Okay? You know, challenge the Democrat and Republican establishment. Okay? Look out for your residents, for the people in your area. Do better. Okay? Yeah. But now's the time to get involved. Now is the time to get involved, right? Because when November rolls around, if you're choosing between the lesser of I don't care and who gives a shit, then you didn't get involved.
We all lose. Yeah,
then we all lose. Right. So now's the time to get involved. January and February, and then petition season is in March and April, and then the primary is in June. Just laid it out all there for you. All right.
There you go. And if you're now we're over. So if you yourself are thinking about running, let us know. We'll be happy to platform you right here. Or if you know of someone, introduce them to us, introduce them to the podcast. We'd be happy to platform. Like to hear what they're campaigning on, and help get some grassroots people, some real hardworking working class people who really want to represent us. So thanks so much for sharing this hour with us. This will be recorded and will be up on our channel in a little while. And in the meantime, always remember to like, share, and subscribe so you get notified when other videos come out and when we do live streams, which is always Tuesday evening at 7 p.m., unless otherwise notified. All right. And thanks so much for engaging in your comments, and we will see you soon. Have a great night, everybody.
Peace out.